just allow everyone in.
Exactly.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Dalitso Holdings webinar session. I think we're officially going to begin our webinar session. And I just want to give a warm welcome to all of you. Yeah, and these are interesting times that we live in today. And it's just really great that we can still have a meeting and still have conversations around matters that are impacting businesses all over the world. And I just really think it's a privilege that we can still be able to meet and have these type of conversations to talk about some of these issues. I just want to thank everybody for joining us so that we can discuss this very pertinent topic regarding UIF and TERS, which are emergency relief schemes that have been initiated by our government. I think firstly, as a way of introduction, I will introduce myself and then I will go on to introducing my colleague who will be presenting the second half of this webinar session. My name is Naledi Gallant and I'm the Managing Director of Dalitso Holdings. And we basically provide end-to-end HR services, and we've been in business for the last 15 years with a presence that is nationwide. And I would also like to introduce my colleague, Nodine Nodia, who has extensive experience in HR consultancy business. She has a lot of experience in training and development, in the labor relations related matters, basically a wide scope of HR of services. And we've decided that we want to use these type of platforms to engage with the public at large and a lot of business owners due to the various challenges that most people are facing with regards to this pandemic that we are currently facing, this pandemic called COVID-19. So I think let me start first by saying that the Department of Labor has published a new directive clarifying a number of issues around COVID-19 TERS, which is the Temporary Employer Relief Fund. And so TERS falls under the Unemployment Insurance Fund, which is the UIF. So interestingly enough, which is actually quite worrying, is that currently in South Africa, we've got about close to 2 million businesses that are registered with the UIF. To be exact, it's about 1.8 million companies that are registered with the UIF, and only a small fraction of these companies have applied for this emergency relief that has been availed by our government. To be exact, it's about 103,000 companies that have made use of these services that our government has provided. That's about 5%. So that's a major concern because we are actually asking ourselves, is this because, firstly, is it because a number of companies are not aware of the services that government is actually providing for us as the public? Is it probably because of the challenges that most organizations are experiencing with the online process? What is it? There might be quite a number of factors that are impacting a number of businesses from accessing these funds. And so it's quite important for us to raise awareness about all the available grants and assistance that's made available by our government to companies to relieve the financial pressures that most of the businesses are experiencing. So that's quite a major concern because there is quite a lot of funds that are available with UIF. And as I've mentioned, only 5% of companies that are registered with the UIF have submitted their applications for this assistance or this relief scheme that has been made available. And we are actually wondering what has happened to the other 95% of businesses that should be providing, that should be gaining access to these funds to make sure that the employees are also able to benefit from these. And so, as I've mentioned, that so TERS is basically stands for Temporary Employee or Employer Relief Scheme, that is part of the UIF that is made available to employers. So this scheme is intended to provide emergency relief for employers to be able to pay their workers during this time of COVID-19, particularly those that have been impacted by the lockdown, which means quite a number of businesses have had to shut down, and they've had to force some of the employees to take annual leave during this time. And so this scheme was intended to make sure that while this is happening, and due to the fact that the businesses are experiencing financial distress, they are able to sought relief from the fund in order to make sure that they are able to pay salaries during this time. And so this benefit is available to most businesses. Particularly very important is that these are companies that would qualify for this COVID-19 benefit are companies that where the company or the employer was a contributor to UIF prior to the 15th of March 2020. So your company or your business must have been registered with UIF and contributing on a monthly basis to UIF prior to the 15th of March 2020 in order for you to be eligible to this assistance or the scheme. And the funds that have been made available for this. And so the Gazette states that the employer is required to be the one who submits the applications on behalf of the employee. And this is basically due to the current rules pertaining to social distancing and to avoid individual applications. So the Gazette states that the employer must employ on behalf of the employees. So this basically means that the monies that will be made available will go directly to the employer. And then it's the employer's responsibility to release the funds to the employees. So that's also another issue that I will touch on a little bit later, because there are actually quite a number of complaints from employees who are complaining that these funds have not been made available to them by their employers. So as I had mentioned, so this fund is available to everybody for as long as you've been contributing to the UIF and you are registered. This applies to spaza shops, it applies to hair salons, it applies to even you as an individual employing a domestic worker, because they also are eligible to this scheme. So if you have a domestic worker or a full-time gardener, you are also eligible to apply for this relief fund scheme. And then also another thing is, this is not just only applicable to employees that have had to take annual leave or forced annual leave, or who are not currently working during COVID, but this is also applicable to employees whose income has been affected because they've had to reduce working hours. So they are still employed, but their working hours have been reduced. So they would also be eligible to this relief fund. Just to make sure, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Because I know sometimes the audio comes and goes. And yes, so there's quite a number of there's quite a number of different elements to the different types of people that are eligible to this scheme. And I think Nadine will basically go into more details on how how it can be accessed and the people that are eligible and how to actually go about doing that. So on my end, I would like to say that I would like to urge all of us as employers to do the right thing, because as we have mentioned, due to the restrictions, due to quite a number of our employees not having access to computers, online systems, not having the ability to do the applications themselves, and the fact that the UIF has put the responsibility on us as employers and businesses to do these applications on behalf of our employees, with the money and the disbursements coming directly into the bank accounts of the organization. It's quite important that we honor and make sure that that is actually paid to the employees, because that's currently a major issue that a lot of employees are experiencing, whereby those funds are being withheld and are not being paid to them by their employers. So I definitely would like to urge all of us as employees to make sure, employers or businesses, to make sure that we pay our employees, because they really are going through a very tough time from a financial point of view. And without further ado, I think I'm going to hand over to Nadine Nodia, who is going to take us through the process of how to actually go about with the online process of submitting applications to the UIF, and perhaps also differentiating between UIF and TERS, and also just basically telling us a little bit more about who's eligible, as well as how long it takes, and all of those things. And so Nadine, I will hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Naledi. Thank you for the introduction and the explanation. And thank you once again for everyone joining. While I'm just getting the introduction ready, I'm just going to share my screen for the presentation, and I'm also going to go through the systems practically, that you guys can see it, can understand it. So please just give me a minute. So very importantly, what Naledi said is we have the TERS screen and we have the UIF applications. Part of the TERS screen is not only just the UIF applications for employee wage assistance, but there's also a TERS stream in terms of business loans and business rescue measures that can be put in place. And that will be a separate webinar that we will do in the next few weeks to explain that. So today we are going to look at specifically the UIF applications. We as a company, as the Little Holdings, has been inundated with questions on how we can assist, how this work. People have applied, they haven't gotten feedback yet. People's bookkeepers and such has applied and no feedback has been received as yet. So we really just want to give you guys today the knowledge on how to work these systems, how to rectify if there's any queries or any appeals. So the main discussion points from my side is going to be who can apply for the UIF COVID-19 relief fund, what is the online process for applications, how to fix errors, and how to do the appeal if there is declined applications. And there's more than half is currently declined because of small reasonings that just need to be fixed, and then it will be approved. So really it's easy, and I'll show you guys step by step today on how we're going to do it. So First, let's look at who can apply for the UIF COVID-19 Relief Fund. So as Naledi said, it is all organizations that are registered and paying UIF. Very important. You can't today go and register the company and then pay the UIF up to date and then want to apply. You needed to have the UIF registered and companies registered before the 15th of March, and your UIF needed to be up to date until that point. All employees that are registered and the organizations have paid the UIF before the 15th of March. So now there's a gray line, and UIF can't provide clear guidance on how they will deal with employees that started on the 1st of March or before the 15th of March with a company, have been registered on the company's portal prior to the 15th of March, but UIF and such from that company hasn't been paid to the employee, to the SARS on behalf of the employee, but before the 15th, because payroll has not been run, but they have been paid for that employee from a previous organization before that. So there's not clear guidance on that. We're still waiting from UIF to provide guidance on that. But currently what they're saying is no UIF paid since January for that specific employee in the organization. They're not going to get paid and out for that, and your claim for that employee will be declined. Very important, commercial and domestic employers can apply. It's really like Naledi said, it is for everyone. It is for everyone that has small businesses. If you are a one-man business, but you have registered yourself for UIF, you can still claim from UIF. If you're a big corporate, you can claim. If you have already paid your staff salaries up front, you can still claim the UIF back and write it off against the UIF received. It is important to know that UIF is not going to refund 100% of your salaries that you are paying for staff members. Currently, they say you can get up to 17,000 Rand back. We have seen that a maximum of 7,500 Rand off has been paid out to companies for a particular employer. It's also mentioned in the codes and in the Gazette that should an employee earn less than minimum wage, they will pay out 3,500, which is the minimum wage for everyone. Sorry, can I just ask you guys to mute your mics, please? Thank you. All right. Then how does this process work? Let's look at the process, the online process. So there is an email process where you can send your CSV files and all your relevant files. All those processes via email, it takes longer. 90% of them gets declined because the CSV file is not correct. They can't open it, they can't upload it. So it gets declined, and then organizations are stuck, or they say they don't receive feedback. So very important is there is a specific website where you can apply for the UIF, and that is the uifecc.labour.gov.za/COVID-19/. That is a specific UIF portal where you need to go and register on. It is separate from your filing portal, and it is a 5-minute registration process. I'll physically go through the registration process also now with you. You'll need your UIF reference number. So most companies, as soon as you ask them for the UIF reference number, they provide you the number that starts with the U. Now, very importantly, that is your UIF reference number to SARS and not to UIF. The reference number that UIF are looking for, the unemployment fund is looking for, is your 7-digit number with a dash and a 6 at the end. If you don't have that, you would not be able to register your application and they will deny it. So some of you that have already submitted and it has come back denied, that can be one of the reasons for the denial. Very importantly, as soon as I go live on a system, I will also show you on how to get a UIF reference number from the system if you don't have it readily available. The second step will be to complete and upload the employer details, as well as to capture the employee details and submit. So on this point, what I want to do is I want to go live on the system. So just give me a second. Just want to go to the web page and I want to talk you through it. So this is the specific web page that you'll go. You'll see it says the UIF COVID-19 TERS National Disaster Application. Now, very important is you'll see here's a register button, login button, your payment status. You can also see here that says get your UIF reference number. So now if you don't have that UIF reference number they're specifically looking for, you can click on this. It will take you to a page that says put in your pay-as-you-earn number. So as soon as you put in your pay-as-you-earn number and you say get UIF reference number, it will display a UIF reference number. All right, so I'm just going to put in a number here. Just give me a second. And you'll see there's a UIF reference number that will display. All right, so now you have your UIF reference number. You go onto register. You go and fill in your details here. So you'll say employer or bargaining council if there's bargaining members. Your username will be your digits that your UIF reference number. So for argument's sake, if I put in this one, it will look like that. All right, trade name, contact details. And then you'll create your password as required. You'll say proceed and you will be registered and you will be able to go online. You'll be able to log in. So if you then go in and you log into the system, it looks like this. And it will ask you to capture your company's entity details. So you'll see our entity details has already been captured. You'll see that it will ask your UIF reference number again, your trade name, your pay-as-you-earn number, contact details, lockdown dates, payments medium, so payment to the employer directly, or you can choose to pay to your employees, the address, and then banking details. As soon as you proceed, all right, so we have been already captured. So as soon as you proceed, there will be MOA that will display on the screen, which you'll just accept, and then another agreement to say all the data you'll supply is accurate and you'll just accept. Then it will ask you to capture employee details. I want to please ask you guys not to upload a CSV file. For some reason, the system doesn't allow the CSV files. So please go and capture your employees manually. It doesn't take that long. So you'll put no in at the CSV file, start date of shutdown. He'll go when the shutdown has started. He'll complete when it ended. Nationality, then ID number. Please remember that you can apply for people that also is foreign nationals. You'll just capture it as nationality as somebody, as a foreigner. Names and surnames. Contact number, email address, monthly salary, and then you'll put in monthly salary. Please put in the gross salary. So I'm just going to put a salary amount in here and any salary amount in there. And what was the salary the employee earned during the lockdown? So if you paid your employees, what did you pay your employees? If you did not pay your employees, it will be 0. Employment start date. All right, employment end date, please leave that open because your employees hasn't been dismissed. And you'll say save. And it will save, and ours, because ours has been already done, it doesn't give it out on the screen here where it says action UIF, reference number, such forth. You'll see them there. And then as soon as, yes?
Sorry, can I just interrupt there?
Yes, please.
I actually see that there's an option for payment to be made directly to the employee.
Yes.
So that is a possibility. Because I had earlier that the monies actually go to the organization who then make up the payments to the employees. So, so there is basically an option for the organization or the company to pay directly to the employee.
Yes, yeah. So there is that option, and it is really a better option, or in terms of monitoring if the payments gets made or not.
Okay.
All right. So as soon as you've captured all employees here, you'll say submit, and it will submit to UIF funds. Then you can come in each and every day, and you can come and check your status. Under your status there, and you'll see there was a certain amount that was processed. It will say process an amount there. If it's an amount there, it means there was money paid out to the company. If it says processed but 0, it means it was declined and there were certain reasons for it. Then you can go to your payment breakdown. You can see successful payments and declined payments. You click on successful payments, and it will show you successful payments as well as the for who it was successful. And then you'll see where it says, where you see the green cross, you click on it, you'll be able to see the amount paid to the employer for that employee. So the employer, they need to take that amount and send it and pay it to the employee. Then you can also, under your payment breakdown report, go to the client's payments. And you will see here the client payment. And you can see, for argument's sake, the error here is employee not declared by the employer. This does not mean that you have not paid the employee's UIF. This simply means that the employee has not been registered on the U-filing system. Therefore, you'll need to go into your U-filing system and register that employee. So if I go out here, I'll say log out. So that's how easy it is. That's your application done for your COVID. Then if you have the errors, you go to your U-filing system, which is the system here, which is really www.ufiling.co.za. You say log in, so you'll get your login details. So somebody in the company who does payroll should have the login details for UIF. If they don't, you'll need to create it. So if I just log in here, and while I'm logging in, I just want to say thank you to the lady that we can use our login details to show you guys. Okay, as soon as we log in, this is how the screen will look like. You will go to Declaration Manager. You'll click on it. And you'll see the company here. You'll go to the Lecture HR Solutions, click on it. And then you'll see employees that has been added or not. If there's employee that you need to add, you'll go add employee. Employee type.